Pittman just not interested in doing what Deion wants Colorado to do. NCAA and not letting teams scrimmage probably makes sense, but Razorbacks probably would have simple way of handling spring games if they want. Fayetteville, Arkansas. As Arkansas spring practices are winding down, someone asked Sam Pittman what he thought about Colorado coach Deion Sanders wanting more of an NFL-type model. It got a predictable reaction from Pittman. He was careful, though, not to cast any shade in the direction of the Buffalo's coach. Isn't it amazing how some coaches want more? Pittman said Tuesday. Sanders had wanted to play some sort of spring game or at least practices against a real opponent. That's along the lines of NFL teams holding camp practices against other teams. The NCAA immediately threw cold water on that whole deal. Assuming Tom Mars doesn't get somebody to file a lawsuit, though. It won't be the Razorbacks, who are about 25 miles south of him in Rogers, Arkansas. Pittman really, though, can't believe the opposite ends of the spectrum on the whole thing. They want spring opportunities like the NFL to practice against somebody, Pittman said. And then other coaches don't even want to have the spring game, and they want to go out there in underwear and shorts and no helmet. Isn't it amazing? Not really, considering every team in the country hasn't agreed on much of anything in the last 100 years. These days the problem is every time the NCAA tries to make a rule, lawsuits get filed and usually wins. There is another reason Pittman isn't exactly keen in the idea. Considering the number of players he's going to have to face this year playing for somebody else, he sees it raising the possibility of teams using those events to recruit transfers that you'd have to watch other coaches going. Who you trying to get off my team? Pittman said, if I was a 1AA team and you were scrimmaging Arkansas, I'd be miserable because if somebody made a play against the University of Arkansas, one of their coaches is going to make a play on that kid. Coaches don't like adding more things to think about. For a coach like Pittman that admittedly is worried sometimes if there's not something that's making him worry, think about that one a minute and you'll understand. It's just one more thing to keep him awake that you've got to think about a lot of things, Pittman said. Nobody is televising spring games anymore because of that fact. There's a lot to think about. But for me, not against Coach Sanders or anything else, for me, I wouldn't be for that. That transfer portal is driving him crazy. He spent decades learning everything he thought was necessary to be a head coach. Then it all changed 60 days after he got the job. Adopting the one window for the portal would help. Numbers being thrown out there which I don't know if it's going to pass or not pass or whatever, Pittman said. One number was January 2nd to January 12th, and to me that's a great time. But what if you are in the playoffs, just like basketball, and here comes this? Then there's the nil stuff that's an entirely different issue. The portal window may be the biggest problem with college football, and nobody has any answers. Just hope right now. Here's what Pittman said. We'll have the translation below. It's not that the kids will go in the portal. It's the ability to say if I don't get this, I may not play in the semifinal game, Pittman said. Then you've got problems. I don't know when the idea would be, but the one portal window that I heard thrown around was January 2nd to 12th, and that would be great. Great. You could have Christmas without hoping that phone doesn't ring. You can be with your family, whether it be in a bowl game or not, and not worry about who's getting in the portal. Man, it would make life a lot better. I don't know what the answer is. February 1st to February 12th, is that the best time? Well, you can't do that because they can't get into spring ball. January 2nd to January 12th is what I've heard. To me, one portal, that's the best option right now. The Pittmanese translation on all that is really pretty simple now. He wants just one portal window and a nice dinner on Christmas Day. Whether he gets it or not is out of his hands. That probably drives him crazy more than anything. Tensions rise for Deion Sanders as Colorado alum takes stance against biased Shedeur move that screams nepotism. There's a fine line between gratification and self-indulgence. When Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter arrived in Boulder, the Colorado football program was a cesspool of mediocrity. Heck, even that may be an understatement. As hyperbolic as it sounds, the Buffaloes were arguably the worst program in the FBS. Deion Sanders deserves a lot of credit for the turnaround, but he doesn't pad up and take to the gridiron. Shedeur and Travis have been hugely influential in changing the fortunes of this flailing program. Taking a one-win team to 9 wins within 2 seasons is a testament to this. Now that they're bidding adieu and ascending to the NFL, the school has reciprocated their efforts with a massive show of love and respect. They've retired their jersey numbers. But is this a step too far? A Colorado alum with a very resonant voice in the media sure thinks so. Fox Sports' Joel Clatt is intrinsically etched into college football. When he's not calling the action from the booth, he's dissecting it on his various platforms. But Clatt's tryst with CFB precedes his career in the media sphere. While he's got to be a neutral voice on the mic, the blood coursing through his veins is black and gold. Joel Klatt's from nearby Arvada and quarterbacked the Buffs during his own career. So, not only do his words hold weight in the context of Colorado being his alma mater, but he has also walked in the same shoes as Shedeur Sanders. So when he relays his opinion that the school should not have retired his, or even Travis Hunter's jersey, it doesn't fall on deaf ears. Quite literally, because he even said this to the athletic director directly. During an appearance on First Things First, Joel Klatt was confronted about the news reverberating out of CU. Most people have voiced disagreement with the decision, but you'd have thought the primary representative of the school and the media would quell the discourse. Instead, he fanned its flames. A hesitant Klatt said, "Man, not a good look," as he smiled, knowing this wouldn't go down well in Boulder. He prefaced his elaborate explanation behind why this retirement isn't just premature, but ill-advised by clarifying how this isn't him disowning the program or its custodian, Coach Prime. "I don't know of anybody anywhere that has been a more staunch supporter of what has gone on in Colorado than myself." But Clatt couldn't agree with this decision, especially with Shedeur Sanders' number 2 being in the rafters. He even gave a very rational take on how this actually affects Shedeur negatively. First, Joel Klatt gave insight into his conversation with AD Rick George. "This has to get signed off by the athletic director. I talked to him, told him that I didn't agree with this. He said, 'Listen, Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter changed the trajectory of our program. They saved our program in a lot of ways. I understand that from their perspective. I just think that it cheapens what you're actually trying to do," he remarked. Travis Hunter's number 12 being retired makes sense. He won the Heisman Trophy. The only other winner in Colorado history, the late Rashawn Salam, also has his jersey retired. Salam got the honor 23 years later, but it's still feasible nonetheless. Shedeur's case is a bit more difficult to make. There's no precedent for him like there is for Travis, which segues into the elephant in the room, nepotism. Clatt touched upon this, that you're trying to honor Shedeur Sanders. From the outside looking in, it's way too easy to say, would this happen if he had a different name on his back? That's what then becomes a disservice to Shedeur. You're trying to honor him, and yet it's just going to bring more questions, said Joel Klatt. He even contextualized the timing of the announcement. With mere days left before the draft, there's still no clarity around Shedeur's fate in the NFL. In fact, there's been sporadic reporting around teams having doubts about his ego and character. His jersey being retired definitely doesn't help those doubts. When the narrative surrounding him and the questions from some of the front offices in the NFL are going to be about, does he think he's bigger than our organization? Does his family think that he's bigger than our organization? To throw this little nuclear bomb also does him a disservice, said Clatt. In summation, he reiterated that I don't agree with it. Even though Clatt mentioned how it's the Colorado brass that made this decision, the nepotism angle is difficult to bury. The Sanders clan is synonymous with the program now. It does make the connection both easy to make and viable. A fellow media member has explicitly staked a claim that Deion and the name on the back are indeed why Shedeur Sanders got his number retired. Deion Sanders called out for influencing Shedeur Sanders' number being retired. Colorado-based 9 News reporter Scotty Gange didn't mince his words when he came across this revelation. He, too, let Travis Hunter off the hook. But Shedeur Sanders wasn't as fortunate. I absolutely disagree with this decision. Hunter, as a Heisman winner, I can understand, but Shedeur seems like a forced +1 here. Quarterbacking your team to a 10-7 record and ending with a blowout loss in the Alamo Bowl does not qualify you for immediate jersey retirement, he said in a post that went viral on X. As someone who's followed the program for a while and has his finger on the pulse of the fan base, Gange's condemnation resounds loud. Deion Sanders, too, caught flack. Colorado has so much history and so many legends in their 135 years, Gange proceeded. Perhaps one day would be the right day to retire Shedeur's number. But not today. I feel like the school felt like they had to do it to please the head coach and sell some more tickets to the spring game. Even Shiloh Sanders held astray from Scotty Gange. At least they're not retiring Shiloh's number as well. The less said about that, the better. As for whether Deion Sanders was actually a factor, Joel Clatt said, this did not come from Deion. He reckons this was purely a CU decision, but it's difficult to thwart the notion. The timing of the announcement is just as, if not more, culpable than the actual decision. Alas, it's now etched in the annals of the CU buffs. Whatever your opinions on it, at least this isn't the worst jersey retirement ever. The Miami Heat retiring Michael Jordan's number 23, who never even played for the franchise, will forever take the cake.